You're watching BCTV, Brantford's Community Access Station.
Hi, and welcome to Just Saying. Inspiring, thought-provoking, and maybe a little bit opinionated. I'm Lisa Lelis, and I want to welcome to the show. And I want to first ask about these beautiful drinks. Erica, tell us what we're drinking today.
So I wanted to pick something that you might have all those items in your house. So I chose to start with apple cider, Prosecco, pears, apples, and a little dash of cinnamon. So it's just very light, have it in the house. Good for Thanksgiving.
And I love the
Christmas.
thin sliced apple garnish.
You know what's good? If you want to do non-alcoholic, you could do seltzer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you want to do a mocktail.
Yeah, mocktail.
This is
Or
awesome.
the sparkling apple cider, if you wanted to do for kids. Like to have a special treat.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
really good.
interestingly, someone had suggested that we put together a cookbook of drink
Yes, a
specials.
beverage book.
Oh, we should.
A bar book.
Oh, we should.
Just saying bar book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I have to
just
tell you,
like
the cinnamon in this tastes terrific.
It's fabulous.
yummy.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, so you would call this a cider
Sangria, a cider sangria.
sangria. Like it.
nice.
Writing that down. I'm going to start the book.
Yeah, I like this.
There we go.
Add that to your list, Cindy, of things to do.
Add it to the big list.
You know, today it's actually, I'm so excited today because I have a very good friend of mine, a very renowned children's author who actually lives in Guilford right near my house. And I've known her for many years. And on that subject, because she will be coming up, we'll introduce her shortly. But on that subject, you know, with today's, I mean, we're so busy and overscheduled and really just so much going on. Do we really make time for reading, not only for ourselves, but for our kids? Do
I
all
do
of you
for
read?
my kids.
I do
Absolutely.
for my kids.
Every night. We get to choose if he's good, he gets 3 books. If he's been or it's really late, mommy's really tired, it's 2 books. And he gets to pick them.
Okay, but now you're talking about a son who's 2 years
He's
old?
3.
3, okay. There's a big gap, and we'll talk to Kay when she comes on. But there's a big gap, I think, for boys. And I think really wasn't until, was it Harry Potter that all of a sudden 12 and 13 and 14-year-old boys were finally reading because there was subject matter that was interested
My
them.
16-year-old reads quite a bit.
That's great.
And
Yeah, and
what-
see, my 13-year-old doesn't, like,
Yeah.
we've tried everything, but he likes to be read too, which is interesting. Like, he'll sit there, like, even when he was little, he preferred that I read to him, you know, so that's what you know, he has to read for school, but that's what I try to do.
Well, I have 3 daughters.
I can't walk with this and this.
I have 3 daughters, and they would all read. They were avid readers, but my son, no, Minecraft all the way. He doesn't want to read. You know, he can build these villages and
So
cities.
that brings us to the social
all
media.
right.
It's
Yeah.
all linked
But, you know,
with children.
And also, what about Kindle versus books
I
with pages?
I prefer a paper book.
real
Me
book.
I can't
too.
I
read
prefer
it,
a paper
and I do
book.
the Kindle and iPad, and it's
No.
I
See,
can't,
now I'm shocked that
can't do
you
it.
don't read
Yeah.
Kindle
No,
because you're
it
so
doesn't
electronic.
Feel the same.
It doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't, and
Yeah.
visually, I don't like the look of it. Like it.
See, I like
Plus,
the
it just
book.
prompts you to be more connected in a society
Yeah.
where we're always talking about
Yeah.
disconnecting.
Right, I totally
How
agree.
can you really do that? It's if you're
No.
connecting on your
We're
phone.
all in
the thing
agreement with
is,
that. I can't
we
believe
are all in
that.
agreement.
With the phone,
Yeah.
when I download the books on there, I always have my phone with me, so I
Yeah.
always can read. But I find that I don't have the same attention span on the phone as I do if I'm with an
Right,
actual
yeah.
book.
Me
But
too.
at least it's with me.
Right.
You know.
The thing is, I read in bed late at night when I do, or early in the morning, so that's why I need the light, because, you know, like the book, so that's why I do the iPad, you know, that's where I read a lot. But what I don't like is you're thinking, oh, I know on Kindle you can go back, but it's hard to go back. Like, whereas if you got a regular book, you can go right back to, like, if you
Back.
think of something or you're.
Yeah.
Well, plus if you have a regular book and you want to underline
Yes,
something
that's
Or
write,
refer back to
refer
something.
back,
I always
something
flip
like
pages
that.
back.
I like
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
In that regard, on the Kindle or the iPad, you can just, save a spot where you want. I mean, there's all different tricks that you can do.
can.
That you can
That's
highlight
true.
stuff. I mean, it's really fun. you know.
And then,
that
and then I
far.
didn't charge it. It's going to eat up my battery, and then I won't be able to get on Facebook now.
Plus, there's something a little bit there's something, I love having 3 or 4 books on my nightstand and knowing what I have to get to next. You can't get that on a Kindle, you know,
Right.
because you're just looking at another
But
electronic.
I wonder now that with the kids, everything is technology.
Yeah.
Are they going to have books? Are they not? Because even now, like their class books are online.
The
Everything's-
publishing industry is hurting so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's sad. And me, I edit magazines and just newspapers and magazines, for example. I mean, they're
dying.
dropping,
Yeah.
by the wayside and the large reason is people's attention spans have gone down. Children just don't have the attention spans that they used to. If you don't get someone's attention, what is it now, 7 seconds? You've lost them.
Well, and with the school, this is what I'm struggling with. Even since my girls went to middle school, now my son, they're all on Google Classroom. So if you don't have a computer
Yeah.
and it's frustrating the heck out of me
teachers are
because
doing this, you
I
mean?
don't see
Yeah.
books. I don't know how to get to the homework, and I can't help him. And I know it's the way
Everything's
they're
so
going, but
different.
it's all
Yeah,
online,
so
and
different.
there's something to be said for kids when they actually have the books that they could sit there and turn the page and go back and find the stuff.
Yeah.
But everything on Google Classroom, it's just driving me crazy.
Now, I will tell you, though, I went to law school, right out of college, pretty much, whatever. But then I went back for a master's, and I was in my 40s. And the change that learning everything was online. I took a lot of online classes. It was at UConn, so some of them. And I got to tell you, I really liked it. And everything I do now as a lawyer, I work with clients, everything, all my research, I don't use books at all. Everything's online. So I have to tell you, I'm used to it.
Well,
so,
yeah.
Work, it's fine, but
Yeah.
I find trying to help my son with his homework, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
so
tough, yeah.
easy.
Well, I've heard comments from kids when you say, you want to show them how to do something. They go, well, I don't need to know how to do that. And I'll say, well, why not? Well, because I can look it up.
Yeah.
Or I
I
can
can look it up.
Like they just want to
beautiful.
Google
Kids
it.
don't have to spell
It's a beautiful
anymore
fact.
either because
And
spell
it's a
check.
beautiful.
They
So,
don't
but
even
what if you're
teach
in the grocery
cursive
You're
anymore.
store?
a big Googler.
I
right?
am.
I'm
I'm
a
a huge
Googler.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, they're not even teaching typing
It's a verb.
anymore.
I know.
No, because
they don't
it's
have
activated.
to.
Well, they don't have to.
Yeah.
But they think that everything they need to know, they can look up, so they don't have to learn anything anymore.
They're not running
Hopefully they're not
And
using
I said-
Wikipedia as
So I
their
said, well,
reference.
what happens if your phone runs out of battery? Well, I'll just borrow my friend's. It'll be on. I'll be
internet
able-
knows
I don't need
everything,
to learn
right?
this anymore.
And if it's on
So
the
they
internet, it's
don't-
the
How do
truth.
they
Yeah.
not teach typing
To
anymore
learn.
without having to be on a laptop?
Because
you have
kids
to
just
type.
know
That doesn't
typing
make
from
sense.
computers.
They just know how
learn
to-
it
Yeah,
instinctively
but
at
that's
6 years
techie.
old.
Although that was the only D I ever got in high school was typing. My father made me take typing. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I'm glad I took typing. I'm a
Like,
great
it was
typer.
the stupidest class ever, and now I can type, and then I hear my husband go, pack,
Well,
pack.
see,
pack,
are you
pack,
glad?
pack, and I'm
Thank you,
like,
But you know what? I
It's the same,
have,
though.
I have Dragon, it's an app on my phone.
Oh, yeah, Dragon
You speak
Dictation.
and it
And
types.
all you do
Yeah.
is talk into it, and you don't even have to write anything anymore.
Yeah, but
So we're gonna be like that movie where nobody does anything anymore, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Remember the little cartoon? kid
Let me
movie?
tell you what happens. When we have a massive power
I know that
outage,
movie.
we're going to have a whole group of people who don't know how to do anything.
Anything.
No.
Yeah.
so it's a little scary. Well, and speaking of that, I mean, family values have changed drastically. I mean, with the use of social media, as you alluded to before, Erica. I mean, just recently, there was 2 pictures of 2 birthday girls that just turned 18. There was, is it Kendall Jenner, who is a
Kardashian or
who is a
she a
model.
Jenner?
She's a Jenner. She's a model, with silicone lips, and she just turned 18. And also Malala, Nobel Peace Prize winner, survived an Al-Qaeda attack. She's also just turned 18. They had them side by side. Who do you think's getting more media attention? Who has more influence
Kendall.
on our children? It's really sad. You don't hear that much about Malala.
Nope.
Yeah.
The Twitter of it all.
Yeah, it really is.
That's too bad.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap up. We'll be back in a second with our featured guest, and we're so excited. Be right back. Hi, welcome back to Just Saying. I am so excited to introduce our our featured guest today. We have Kathleen Kudlinski, and that is a name many of you may recognize if you go into your own children's library in your home or your kids' room. Kay, as she's referred to, and I have taken classes with her. She's been a mentor of mine, as she mentors many, many, many authors in Connecticut and around the country, and we'll get to talk to you a little bit about that. But Kay has written over 43 books, children's books, and has, as she calls, grand authored more than 143 books where she mentors and has worked with others developing books of their own as well. Welcome, Kay.
Well,
How
thank
are
you.
you?
Thank you so much for being
We
here
are so-
today.
And we're
I'm excited
surrounded
to
by
be here.
just a sampling of some of her many, many books. And now you primarily, I think, are most well known for, which is interesting, talking about our last topic of getting kids interested in things, and taking stories of people in history, notables in history,
Right.
and writing about them, but in a unique perspective. Tell us about that.
I write about their childhoods because it's interesting to know about Rosa Parks, but not to a 9-year-old. To a 9-year-old, it might be interesting to see how Rosa Parks grew up and how she felt and what was going on in
When
her
she was
mind.
9 years old.
Right.
Like what games she played and what she dressed.
And where she grew up, and like where
Yeah.
she lived on
That's
a
a great
farm.
perspective.
And Helen Keller as well, and Rachel Carson, and any number of other women I have done, and some men as well.
I think that's fabulous because that
Yes.
does capture their interest. And as we were alluding to before, it's all about gaining kids' interest to keep them reading, which is wonderful. And now this new book series, which is Boy, Were We Wrong. I love that. This is your 4th book. Recently came out. Boy, Were We Wrong About the Human Body, and you also have Boy, Were We Wrong About Dinosaurs, the Solar System. Tell us, how did this come about? Because it's an interesting story.
It was a fascination of mine to finally hear that dinosaurs have been upgraded. And that was probably 25, 30 years ago. And I was amazed by the facts that they were finding out about dinosaurs and thinking that this was probably something that kids should know about. So I wrote Boy, Were We Wrong About Dinosaurs.
Because they've learned more, so they've
Right.
actually changed
Well,
things that they used to teach.
Absolutely, and see dinosaurs in a completely different light, the light that scientists were now seeing it in. And it's so different from they were before. Well, when I sent these to my publishers, their reaction was, this is not, we don't want to publish this, this isn't, it can't be true.
Really?
And this was how many years ago that you
Like-
present this idea?
Probably 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then 5 or 8 years down the line, they said, yeah. Because
So you pitched
now-
it again and then they
yes,
accepted it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not only did they accept it, but they said this Boy Were We Wrong idea, where I'm taking a science and I'm saying, this is how paleontology grew from its beginnings of thinking that dinosaur bones were actually dragon bones. I mean, that's where dragons came from, of course. And they had to be magic because they were so huge. So coming from there, that's what the start of paleontology and how it came to the present and how strange things we believed. And now it's very different.
Right.
Well, that's true about any number of sciences. And so I've done meteorology and I've done astronomy and I've done now the human body anatomy. So they're actually studies of science, but they start with hilarious things that we thought once. The king on the cover and the back cover of that is holding a little, if you want to turn that around,
Yeah, I've got it in my hand.
is holding a leech. Because leech.
Sorry.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's perfect.
Gross.
Your reaction is perfect because that's what a kid would say.
Sure.
And then on the front cover, there's this wonderful skeleton who's just a sweetie pie of a skeleton.
Not a scary
I'm just-
skeleton, one that's actually smiling. He's so cute.
I love the illustrations. They're soft, but they have so much detail in them.
Do you have a different illustrator for each of these?
Interestingly, I do, and that's unusual for a series, and I love that. This was the decision of the illustrators and the editor. So you don't have a whole lot to say when you're just the writer, just the
Just
writer.
the writer.
Right, right.
100 books later.
Yeah, well,
Well, what I love about this is, I mean, I'm intrigued by this. Kids must love this, and you're making learning really fun for them.
It is fun.
And then they're more inclined to enjoy school and so forth. You know, that is
Especially
so
science and
fabulous.
history.
Good
Really.
for you.
It's the fun kind of thing where these books speak to the kid who is now, of course, got a shorter attention span.
Yeah.
And they're
We were just talking
visual
about that.
learners. And so all of these pictures and all of the illustrations carry far more information than just my words.
Right. And it really goes into, I think, what your passion is, with nature and science, because I don't know if anybody knows, but Kay was a long-running columnist in the New Haven Register. She used to write the nature columns.
Right.
And I love that because nature really is different in the Northeast than it is in other parts of the country. So that was fabulous. Some people may say, oh, that's where I know
Recognize the
Kay
name.
from, if they don't have
The
little
name and the
children in their
face.
house. But no, I think that's great.
But you brought some other books for us to look at today.
Yeah, these are-
And these are so cool.
And I'm seeing different languages. So your
This is
books,
so
your books
neat.
are printed in many different languages, I
Yes,
see.
they
so you've
are.
got
So you're
popularity around the
international
world.
Right.
The Spirit Catchers.
This must be
This is-
Russian
This
or
looks
Polish.
interesting. Although I can't read it.
And
Actually,
this is
that's
Georgia.
Danish. Isn't
Okay.
that interesting?
And this is Georgia O'Keeffe, so this is where she
Right.
takes her biographies.
And this is Rachel Carson in Japanese.
Japanese.
And
Oh,
I'm
and it
sure
goes
that
that
there's
way.
a place where my name is written, but I'm not sure where
You don't
that
know where
is.
that is.
And I know that Japanese books open backwards, and it's
Oh, I
just so
wondered
surprising
why.
to see.
Yeah.
And I have,
And it goes back this way.
Yep.
That's
So they
interesting.
read from
Yeah,
left
they
to
read
the other
right,
way.
not right to left.
Yeah.
up to down,
How
Yeah.
I learned something today.
up to
Okay.
down.
Yeah.
And they start over here, and they read like this.
So Kay, you
Isn't that amazing?
I didn't know
Now,
that.
I can't speak a word of Japanese, but I'm talking to kids in Japan right
That's
now.
awesome.
Isn't that so
I
cool?
love
That
it.
is so cool.
I love it.
You're teaching them.
You always say that that children's books basically change lives.
Right.
So, I mean, explain that, really what the
Adult
importance
books
of...
entertain, adult books broaden, adult books, can titillate. Adult books can just change your mind for a while. But kids' books, because you're hitting them at the age where they're looking at life, they're looking at
Taking in everything.
their choice of what they're going to do with themselves. Kids' books take on an enormous importance in their
Yeah.
lives that a book in your life would never take on.
Trying to teach them lessons as well,
Right.
life lessons.
And it-
about
and it really-
bullying.
right.
You know, I choose
Right.
books that's
Right.
like, okay, what's the lesson we're going to learn about this? Potty training, napping.
And it is- and it
I'm
also-
at age 3.
It also promotes children's literacy in the home too. But we have to ask you, because we're all about busy women. Where do you find the time? Where do you find the time to be? Because you've got to be creative. Plus, you've got to find the time to write. And when you work from home, how do you concentrate when the laundry buzzer goes off and you got to make dinner and the whole thing?
One of the funny ways I heard it described is having a grasshopper mind, where you sit here and then boing, you go over to here, and then boing, you go over to here, and then you come back
Compartmentalizing, sort of.
completely. And so you work as every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes that you find, you sit down and
so
do
me.
that.
Yeah.
And part of being a writer is being up here.
Right.
And so a lot of the times it looks like I'm doing dishes, or it looks like I'm vacuuming a floor, and I'm actually plotting, or I'm actually working on my pitch for the next book, and it's not until I sit down briefly and scratch a few notes down.
Do you
that I-
write every day?
No.
Just okay.
I
so-
mean, that's an awful thing to say, because there are some people who say you must write every day and 200, 4 or 5 pages every day, just 4 or 5 pages. And
Right.
even 1 page a day, by the end of the year, you have a 365-page book.
But you also have to go when you feel creative, and
No,
you have a life
no,
to
no,
lead,
no. You can't go when you feel creative, because then writing's kind of tough.
Yeah.
So
We know, as a writer.
right,
Yeah, I
right.
wanna ask
So
about
you don't go when you feel creative. You feel when you sit down and write when you have
Right.
to. Now, for me, I need an outside
Stimulant or
source.
something. That
yes,
source.
there we go. External discipline. How am I
Right.
so self-disciplined? I'm not. I have external discipline. I have
That's
writers
so good
groups.
To hear.
Yes.
Yes.
Writers groups
we're
who
all
wanna-
the same
Yeah.
way.
We have
Writer's block?
yeah.
Oh yeah, a chapter at the end of the week from my writers group. by
Yes.
Jove, it's
So
going to
we're
be
gonna
there,
set
or
a
I have to, yes. I don't set a deadline myself when my writers group sets it for me, and I.
We have to
yay.
wrap up, but on that note, I'm glad that you mentioned
Thank you
writers
so
group.
much.
Kay has a wonderful writers group. Go on her website, which is boywewewrong.com.
Boy, were we
And we'll
wrong.
put that on our website as well. Thank you so much,
Thank
Kay.
you.
This was really delightful, inspirational. We'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Welcome back. We're here with our food guest of our show, my friend Melissa Nicholson. She's
Thank
the
you.
owner of Entree,
Thank you.
located in Brantford on Brantford Hill, right? That's
Yeah,
where
on the
it's
hill, next
on
to
the hill
Brantford
in
Car
Brantford.
Wash is the best way to tell you how to get there. Everybody
Okay.
knows that.
Excellent. So, us, the moms on the go. Tell me, where did you get the idea for the prepared food to go?
Well, having been a mom on the go and a single mom and just trying to figure out, oh my goodness, it's dinner time and I have nothing planned type thing.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. I wish that I had been on the hill when I had moved to Brantford and was a single mom and running around and juggling a full-time job and trying to figure out what to feed my daughter healthy versus going to Wendy's.
Yeah, the to-go meals.
So-
I know the what's for dinner question. Who doesn't get the what's for dinner question here, right?
Yeah,
Everybody.
totally.
I'll give you a quick
It's
stat.
exhausting.
40% of all households do not know what they're having for dinner at 5 o'clock in the evening. Scary number
I'm
to
in
me.
that
That's
percentage.
a scary number to me.
Well, plus, what I'm finding is that we have 5 of us now, and before it was me, my husband, my son, so it was like, oh, we all eat the same thing. Now, this one, everybody sort of has what they like.
Perfect.
They all have to eat healthy, but, the little ones got 2 and 4, they're not gonna eat, so that's what makes it difficult sometimes.
Absolutely.
So we try to do the same thing, but not always.
It doesn't really work that well. And I have customers that come in to buy for their kids the macaroni and cheese, and then they'll have something to take out to share with their husband, or he doesn't need anything but meat, so they'll buy the meatloaf, and then they've got to have the chicken française. So it works out perfectly to see
He's
4
like
or
the
5
short
containers.
order cook. Oh,
So
you're-
everybody
you're-
gets happy.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm looking at the menu that you brought us. So you do some catering, so you'll
We do.
deliver for larger events.
Yes, trade. We don't do on-premise catering. That's not part of our how we do it. But we do drop-off trays, and we will also, you can pick them up and bring your own special dish in, and we'll do it in a certain dish you want, or whatever you'd like.
Now,
Oh, you can bring your own dish. That's brilliant. So it doesn't have to come in the foil, so it really looks like you've made
Absolutely, yes.
it. We don't have to give you credit.
That's marketing for you, though.
I got all those PTOs and say we made it. Yeah.
That's been done. We won't say anymore.
So
Sorry.
macaroni and cheese now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is delicious. This
Thank
tastes
you.
like homemade.
Now you have these individual dinners that you're talking about, which is great because I need them. But how many do they serve?
Two.
Because they
Two.
serve 2.
Yeah, it's set up by model by other
Oh, my
businesses.
goodness.
So
That's
that's
a
brilliant for
reasonable.
your clients, I would think, Patty.
Yeah,
your clients that are home
For my
because
seniors at home.
Yes.
they could have it one night for dinner and the next night for dinner, and it's not going to spoil.
Or if they have
That's a
spouses.
brilliant portion
Absolutely.
control.
The 2
too.
of them. And not only that, it's a really good price point
It
for a
is.
dinner.
Thank you.
I mean, you go to McDonald's and you spend more than this for a
This is
meal.
true. This is
Unless
true.
it's unhealthy.
And it's and this is
Absolutely.
more and this is healthy, homemade, home cooked
Yes, it is.
meals.
Right in
Yeah.
our premise.
So
right
what's
in the
your
kitchen.
most popular items? Some of the.
I was just going to say, one of our most popular items is pasta bazool.
Oh, really?
That blows out the
love
door.
pasta
Mac and cheese, and I would definitely say our beef meatloaf is just getting a great following, as well as our classic lasagna. So we try different things every week, ladies. We don't, we keep the tried and true on the
Okay.
menu, like you see, mostly
Yeah.
all in house, and side dishes and salads and soups, and we make all our homemade bakery goods on premise too. We, my business partner.
Oh my gosh.
I
Look
did
at
mention
this.
Shelley.
These are
is,
adorable.
yes, she makes all kinds of amazing
These are the
Oh, my
cutest
girls
little
would like
cookies.
that.
specialty cakes and cookies, and we do seasonal and all that. So,
So we've got a bat, we've got a pumpkin.
I think they're
Well,
adorable.
let's
We'll
bring
have
in
to
our other
catch
guests
it.
of our show. Lisa and Dodie, you want to come in and join us? Did you taste the mac and cheese?
Oh, it's fabulous.
Thank
So
you so much.
really
Thank
good.
you.
And I do low carb, but I'm eating this.
Once in
This
a while,
is
you have
really
to break.
good.
Yeah, you have to break it for
Now, do you
our
have a
mac and cheese.
website where you post the menu?
I do Facebook. Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have a website.
All right, so we got to
found that-
connect, so we'll get you on our Facebook. with it.
Definitely,
Yeah.
that would be great. And again, catering and everything is cooked on premise. We have a part-time chef and myself and my business partner Shelley Johnson. To mention, shout out to Shelley too, because she
Yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely. Shelley, wish
awesome.
you could have joined. I know you had
she had things
conflicting
going
schedule,
on. So
but
yeah, that's okay.
glad you were.
And
able
what
to come,
days are you
Melissa.
open?
We're open every day but Sunday, and later on Monday and Thursday nights to accommodate those folks coming over the Q Bridge who asked me if could please be open an extra hour, and it's turning out really well. It's really good.
Oh, that's it, because what I've noticed is that you've got a nice, large selection. A lot of the places I've gone to, it's
Thank you.
you don't
it's lunch
have
and
it.
dinner.
It's mostly pasta all the time when you go into things or something, and you've got quite a lot of different things here too.
And things come and go because they don't work, and we're always a work in progress. We're always trying different recipes out, and as a special, wow, okay, meatloaf goes out the door every day, so we've got to keep that in the menu.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
we'll
black
see a
bean
change.
burger.
And you know what's neat? You have a whole vegetarian section here.
We do.
And then
Oh,
side
spaghetti
dishes.
squash.
I could just come in and
Yum.
get garlic mashed
You
potatoes.
could, and people do it all the time for
So
dinner.
I gotta ask
for
you,
dinner.
now you've been a single parent, you told me a little bit about your daughter, she's getting ready to go to college,
Yes.
she's doing really, really well. So give us some of the secrets to your success of raising your daughter, and how did you,
Single
right?
mom,
Can't have been easy.
on the go.
I've done a lot of different things in life. I think the family agreement is that Melissa pretty much has done everything. But I'm basically an entrepreneur at heart, and all the things I did came to this moment of doing this business because my marketing, my sales background, my selling things, my nonprofit, everything is just sort of my food background has wrapped into being in this business. So.
Isn't that funny? We get to
Kinda funny.
an age,
Yes,
we
you do.
reinvent ourselves again, and we realize that we take everything that
Yes.
we've done in our whole life and put it into something now,
You
and,
do.
and you're power,
You're right,
and you're
Patty.
really in a good place because we're know-it-alls now.
I wouldn't
She
say
always
that.
goes back to doing what's best for her and her daughter.
Yes.
Having known Melissa for a couple of years, that she goes back
Thanks,
and
Erica.
it's mom first, which I admire. So
That's the bottom
cheers.
line.
Gotta get
Cheers
done.
to you.
Thank
and,
you.
You got
Thank
one
you.
shot in
Thank
it. You got one
Focus.
shot.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
That's
all of
for
you.
sure.
Thank
This
you.
is great. Really
Absolutely.
enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this.
Tremendous. And we'll be doing Thanksgiving specials and dinners to go for Thanksgiving.
Well,
if
you know what I'm
don't want to
Christmas
cook,
and-
or put it on your own plate.
How to
In your
avoid-
own platter.
How to avoid family arguments, that you cook, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I just, whatever happens at entree stays at entree. So that's where you're feel free to bring your dishes in and
Because
we'll.
we're having a whole thing in my family, won't get into it, but I should just
That's
have
okay.
Think about it. You bring all your fine
all your
stuff, and nobody will ever know.
No.
Part of the beauty of entree. that's all I
Even
can
like
say.
pies. I wonder if they
And I have
take
done
my
Thanksgiving
time,
I've done it for 20 years. I am
It's
so tired
exhausting.
of cooking.
Absolutely.
Burn a
Because they
candle,
sit down
it'll
in 10 minutes,
smell
they're
like
done.
They're
It
gone.
took days
Yes,
with this.
yes.
Do you have any deliveries or it's pickup service?
Pick up mostly, like I said, we will do trade up things to deliver if we need to. Yeah, absolutely. Thank
Very
you.
cool.
All right, ladies.
Well,
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
that's a wrap for our show today. We had some fun today,
Yes.
didn't
did.
we?
We did.
Our
We did.
yummy cider sangria
Yes.
was
Yes.
delicious.
I want to thank Kathleen Kudlinski again because she was a fabulous guest.
And I looked on her website last night, and you can buy her book online at her website, Amazon, as well as I'm sure it's available RJ Julia and Breakwater Books in Guilford. So we'll
So you
look to
can
buy
get
this
some macaroni
for
and cheese food books for you, get Kay's book, and sit down with your kids. And
There you go.
Sounds
Perfect night. You know what?
perfect.
How
Fantastic night for
relaxing
me.
does that sound? It
Yeah,
sounds
doesn't
pretty
sound
good.
good? And this
Cheers.
cheers.
Buy again. I'm just
Cheers,
saying.
and some cookies. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Excellent.